The hellhound, a supernatural dog or hound straight from the stories of folklore. In folklore, the hellhound tells of a supernatural hound that is larger than any dog we have around today. It would have been pitch black with a thick mane running from its head to tail, glowing red eyes, super strength and speed, and a foul odor that resembles rotten eggs and brimstone. Seeing or hearing this beast would mean certain death, and to make things worse, you cannot run and you cannot hide, for the beast will always find you. But there are cases of people that get away from this beast, stories of how people survived certain death to live another day. This story is how I survived against one of these beasts to fight another day. But be warned, for the story I tell may seem simple, but with temptation fighting, it was harder than you would imagine. My story speaks at a time when I was just finishing my teenage years and starting my adult life. That day I was just finishing up my exams at school, and with the exam being my last exam, a few friends and me thought it would be good to celebrate, have a few drinks and talk about our future and what we wanted to do after the summer holidays. Walking home from the school, I pondered on how I could get hold of some alcohol for me and my friends, as I was the one tasked with this, while my other friends would sort out the food and a little smoke to settle our nerves. I thought about raiding my dad's liquor cabinet, but I thought no, he would know, so my next thought was about dressing up like an adult and going to the local beer off to get some drinks. With the money collected from everyone, there was sure enough to go round. So now I am home looking through my wardrobe to find the perfect suite just so I can get the deed done. Only trouble was, I had no sweets or any smart clothes. I didn't go to church, so no Sunday best, and still too young yet to look for a job. Then the thought popped into my head, my dad has plenty of suits, so I went to his wardrobe and pulled out a black suit. I went to the bathroom and admired myself while wearing it, thinking on how smart I looked, and there is no way I would get refused. Now a few hours has passed, and after learning my lines in the mirror, I was ready to set off and go down to my local beer off. With my nerves starting to get the better of me, I really did wonder how I was going to do this. Now outside the shop, I took a deep breath and opened the shop door. My heart went straight to my throat as the shopkeeper stares at me. Seeing as there was a thick plexiglass surrounding all the alcohol, I had no choice but to go up to the keeper to ask for what I wanted. "Can I have 2 bottles of whiskey, 3 bottles of Coke, 1 rum and 24 cans of beer?" I told him as he looked me up and down. Thoughts started running around me head. Guy thought, I am not going to get served and will have to spend the night in the jail cell, and all thanks to my friends who wanted to enjoy themselves after an exam. My thoughts turned pleasant as the keeper started to get what I ordered. I was hugely relieved as I left the store with the stock in both hands. Just as I started to walk back home, the sound of a car horn gave me such a fright, but I was relieved when I turned around and it appeared to be one of my mates. "So you got the stuff, good. Get in and let's go," he told me. Without any remorse I got into the car and we drove to pick the rest of our friends up. When we picked everyone up, I asked where we was going. "To the cemetery," I was told. My heart jumped yet again into my throat, but I know that, at this time of night, there would be no one there and we would be alone and not get caught drinking. The cemetery was a few miles away on a lone country road, so the only way to get there was by means of transport. We was about 3/4 there when my friend asked, "Do you see that?" Looking up, I saw what looked like the outline of a dog, but this creature seemed different than any other dog. For a start, it was larger, 3 times larger I would say, and then the eyes. The dog had red eyes, but what freaked me out the most was that this hound had a black mane that was on fire. Not only was his mane on fire, but each step this dog took left a fiery footprint behind him. I was now shaking and scared for my life. As we got close, the dog got bigger. All of a sudden, at about a few feet away from the dog, this hound made a jump and landed on the bonnet of our car. You could actually see the animal's feet burning away the paint and eating through the metal of the car. Looking into its eyes was like looking into one's soul and seeing all the evil we have done. The driver tried hard to shake the dog of the bonnet of the car, but to no avail. The hound just dug its claws into the metal of the car like it was paper. It was hanging on and not letting go. All of a sudden the dog jumped off, and out of nowhere, a tree appeared, The car came to a sudden jolt as it came to rest against the tree. Looking around, I can see that we are all alive but with cuts and bruises. "Get out," I yelled, all while looking around to see if we could see this dog, but there was no dog, it had gone. With the car trashed and a few of us not being able to walk home the distance, we knew that there was a caretaker's home at the cemetery, where we could get help. Helping others to walk, we set off for the house, all while checking around us for that dog. Now getting close to the house, we heard a very loud howl. It shook the hairs from our body and turned us all pale as we urgently looked around for this horrendous animal. As we just got to the cemetery gates, we heard it again, that howl. Then all of a sudden this hound jumped out again. This time we could see it in all its splendor, but the heat this hound gave off was unbelievable, and the odor was enough to make us gag. We all screamed for our life, thinking we was all going to get ripped apart by this animal, but no, the hound ran around us howling and barking, and we all met its fiery gaze. Now scared for our lives, we ran into the cemetery, climbing over the gates, all while checking behind us for the beast. At last we could see the faint lights of the house as we kept running. Hope was in sight. That was until the beast jumped out from behind a stone head. The hound now looked like it was bathed in gasoline and set afire. I ducked to the nearest stone, hid and kept my eyes closed, all while my friend was screaming and the dog barking. It felt like a decade, but it was a matter of minutes until there was nothing, no sound, no shouting and no barking. Hoping the animal had disappeared, I opened my eyes hoping to see my friends gathering around, but now all I see was what remains of my 5 friends, now all torn to shreds. My life ended the day to see all my friends dead, but I will always suffer from survivor's guilt, for I was the only one to survive that night.